Hi everyone, I'm back, and this time I have another project. As you can see, this one has already been built. This is for Will Barber. He's a good friend, and this is his pride and joy. Now, the only difference from this one compared to the one that I built in December on our 20-day challenge is that the majority of the outside of this car is incorrect. I did the bands from a few years ago, and some of the flux boxes, but not the wormhole emitter. As you can see, it's a bit of a weird one. But the back of this car is completely inaccurate. There's only two parts that are correct on this, which is the 1967 Polara hubcap and these elbows and crossover tube. Everything else on the car on the outside is incorrect. So what I'm going to be doing is stripping this all off, getting the rear windows popped out, and then we're going to give it a good old clean up. We're going to redo all the wiring down the side because that's incorrect, no purple clamps, and it doesn't go up and over the top. So we're going to be removing a lot of stuff, and we are going to be trying to get this looking a lot more screen accurate. Now, he's not worried about being 100%, which is quite handy because we don't have all the items available. So what we're going to do is get it as close as we can, and while we're doing that, I'm going to film it, and hopefully you guys can just see us taking some of these parts off and replacing them with better parts. So I'll do a little video, a walk around the car so you can see it, and let's see how we get on. So stick with us and see how we change this from this to a more accurate version. So thanks, and yeah, stay tuned. This monstrosity on the back. As you can see, we've got cables. I think some of these might have been lawnmower cables at one point. There's what looks like air boxes, the wrong sort of hoses. I mean, to be honest, whoever made this, well done, because they did spend a bit of time actually fabricating this all together and getting it to look reasonably cool. So well done to whoever did build this, but now it's all coming off and we're going to get the correct stuff put on. I mean, the attention to detail on some of this is great. It's just not the correct detail, but bless them, they really tried, which I can appreciate. It's hard when you are trying to fabricate stuff, and this is what you've got. But anyway, I'll open up. We've got the inside of the car, which obviously isn't too bad at all. We'll see if we can tweak stuff up in here and get it looking a bit more accurate. Now, this back plate's got to come out. We've got a really, really nice flux capacitor here. This is one of Gary Dunster's flux capacitors. So it's a really nice version. I think it's still hooked on. Yeah, so that's nice. And it's got all the lovely pipework up the top. We've got the SID, and we've still obviously got the time circuits. We've got the plutonium dials. We've got a speedo. I've got another speedo upstairs to replace. And we're just going to have a general tidy up of everything and make it look a bit more like the original A car. I've got a new roof console to go on because obviously that's not the correct roof console. And yeah, I think in general, let's turn that off. It's not a bad car. I've got new Malt Richardson plugs to go on the front. And then, yeah, look, it's been bashed in here a bit and just needs a bit of love. But it's a lovely car. It is an October 81 built car. It's a 5-speed manual grey interior, so it's the right car. And yeah, I think it should look pretty cool when we're finished. But yeah, from a distance, you could get away with it. But for Will, he just wants the back of this looking a lot more like it should. So that's what we're going to be doing for him. And to do that, I've got all this up here. So I've got loads of goodies to go on the car. And we will be sorting all of this out over the next few weeks. He wants to have the Mr. Fusion as well as the reactor core. So we're going to be putting a plate over the top of this that will hook down, and I'll have to work out how to figure that out. And yeah, we will see how that goes. But in the meantime, stick with us and see how we get on. We're going to try and fabricate some of these parts and see how we go. Right, so I'm going to start taking some of this stuff off now. So what I'm going to do is set you up on a time lapse, and we'll try and see how much of this gear we can start stripping off the car. So we've got the whole back end stripped off. A little bit dirty and a bit grubby and marked. So I'll have a little bit of a clean up now, and then we're going to see if we can pop these windows out. He wants to keep the rear window in just for extra security of anything leaking. So we'll put a new panel across the back of there. And then we've got our new lid to go on. Just going to give this all a really good clean up first. And I'm going to advise him to get some new fuel lines because he's still running the original fuel lines. The car runs fantastic, so maybe it's a don't fix it if it ain't broke, but just as a precaution, because these are old 1980 rubber, and unfortunately in 1980 they didn't have silicone rubber. So a lot of rubber now from that era tends to be quite brittle or crack, and because these are quite high pressure, they tend to explode and obviously drop down onto the manifold and whoosh, up it goes. So that's a recommendation, but apart from that, everything else in the car is pretty good. So we shall see how it all goes. But yeah, going to give this a nice old clean up now. It's a bit manky, but yeah, let's get all that out. So there we are, that looks a little bit better and cleaner along there. All cleaned up. And yeah, that looks 10 times better already. So I need to cut a panel for the rear window to go over it. But what I'm going to try and do now is see if I can get these rear windows out. Now there's no easy way of doing this. So what you kind of have to do, well, some people just tape them and smash them. I don't like doing that. So what I'm going to do is get a blade. I'm going to start running a blade down through here. You can see the rubber in there. I'll try and get a hole, and then I'll see if I can feed some wire through and see if I can pull it out with wire. If not, you've just got to sit there and cut there with a blade and see if you can slice through. The good thing is that it's sat behind the metal, so you've literally got a nice little guide for your blade to run through. Just depends if these are really stuck in ones or not, but hopefully they won't be too bad. So let's see. So we've got the rear windows out now. These were a lot longer than anticipated, but they're out, which is good, which means I can now start prepping this. I can get the rear piece of metal in, and we can have a little go at trying to line some of these pieces up. Hi guys, right, so here we have the engine lid on. This is just positioned, it's not drilled in yet. And I've got the mechanics going to come and put a little strip on the back of here to keep it straight. As you can see, it's bowing in at the minute with the weight of the reactor core. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop that wormhole emitter off and put a fresh one on, because that's shocking. And yeah, I'm going to start doing a few extra little bits, so stick around and see how we get on. Hi guys, right, so you might remember when we did my last customer's car that I made 2 of these. Now, that's because one was for that car and one is for this car. So hopefully lined up in position, it should look, a little bit better. So I'm going to line that up and bolt it in now. And there we have the wormhole emitter fitted. So this is a good replacement for what was already there. And it looks nice and it fits in perfectly. So now that's fitted, we're going to start maybe getting some bits on the side of here while I wait for that panel to arrive. Right, so I've managed to line a few bits up on the back of the car and it looks a little bit more accurate. Now I haven't screwed any of these down yet because I want to get that rear panel in first. But it's just to give a little bit of an idea for the customer what he's looking at and how far we've managed to get today. So yeah, not too bad. I'm going to get the fabricator to fabricate and we will get the vents on and that back panel soon, and then we can start fixing gear on.